Yeah, no, all good. So thank you guys for joining us. I'm seeing folks start to trickle in here. Really welcome, and want to just go ahead and get started and introduce you to our data-driven community. Very glad that you are spending your lunch hour or something close into your time zone to lunch hour with us. And I want to introduce my colleague, Lauren Crisaldi. She is one of our absolute lead and senior. We should have more words on that, by the way, Lauren. Consultants on the analytics side of the house. And she's also, in addition to having just a really deep background with Tableau, she's also one of the new Tableau user group leaders for Charleston, right? You guys are kicking off soon?
Yeah, and my co-leader, Jim Coate, is on too, I see.
Oh, very good.
So
Hi.
cool.
Well, that's awesome. Good. And today we're going to talk about methods to build an advent calendar inside of Tableau. And she's got that already posted up on her Tableau Public. And actually, I should just pass the baton to you for you to introduce yourself, to be fair. But I've really enjoyed it. I'm new to the Xeo team. I've been here about 6 months now, maybe 7. And I'm also a Tableau ambassador and have been in and out around the Tableau ecosystem since about 2011-12 timeframe. And I am on the education side of the house. So without further ado, let me pass the baton to you, Lauren. And but before I do, let me just also quickly say that we have love it that this is a smaller meeting format. We definitely would love for you to keep the mics off while she's presenting, but we're going to encourage you to come on mic to ask questions and or put some comments or questions in the chat. I will be watching the chat during the full meeting, and we'd love for you guys to ask questions or clarification if there's something you wanted to repeat or some idea you have about how you might implement it. We'd love for you to just chime in and chat because we'll keep that going. And then also, she will have a little bit of a Q&A at the end of the presentation. This meeting will be recorded and shared out on the XeoMatrix YouTube channel afterwards. So if you missed part of it or want to re-roll how something was done, that will be available. All right. And so with this slide up, let me pass the baton to you for you to introduce yourself formally, and then we'll kick off the session. All right,
Yeah,
Lauren?
yeah, sounds good. Thank you. So yeah, I'm Lauren Cristaldi. I am a lead with XeoMatrix, or a lead consultant. So I'm really bad at intros, even though I've done them like a million times now. So I've been working with Xeo for about 3.5 years. So that's a lot of intros.
Mhm.
And then I come from a state government background. I worked for the state of South Carolina for about 4.5 years, and I've been working with Tableau for about 8 years. So, and I love using Tableau and Figma, and really just, I like to even make dashboards in my free time, which is probably crazy, but
So did you make a submission to the Iron Viz contest?
unfortunately this year I was just before the deadline.
Oh,
I
yeah.
couldn't, like something happened with the data and I just got too into it. So I missed the deadline, but it's too busy, but it's all right.
Yeah.
I
Well,
published what I was working on though.
when you do publish it, I have high expectations of the results on that when you do join into that competition. So
Well, thank you.
yeah, you're very talented. She's very gifted with this. And so before we go into the session, I'm here as your MC today. I will be watching chat. And then I have a very much an education side of the house kind of background, teaching part-time at University of San Francisco, and I'm training and enablement lead at XeoMatrix. And part of the reason that my words are not sharp this morning is I have been coming in and out of back-to-back trainings. Everybody is tucking it in before Christmas. So we have been the last 2 months have been very full, helping people make more of it with Tableau, and I love doing that. So without further ado, I'm gonna pass the screen to Lauren and have her share what she's prepared to chat with you guys about today.
Yeah, thank you. So I'm just gonna go off video while I'm sharing, just because I need a new prescription for my glasses, I think. So my forehead is just going to be in the screen. So, yes, I made this Tableau Advent calendar. I used ChatGPT to do dashboard audits of different, mostly like Viz of the days on Tableau Public, but then some other ones that I just thought were cool, and using like different types of charts and techniques. So they have different scores assigned based on design and accessibility standard best practices. Um, Now with with ChatGPT or any AI tool, you do have to, well, first be a good prompt engineer, and then secondly, you have to make sure to go back and look through some more of the like technical and like scoring measurements. So, but since this isn't, being used for anything other than just fun, it wasn't too bad to just throw these scores up. But these aren't like real scores, so I just don't want anyone from Tableau Public to get mad at me if they think their score is too low. Blame GPT. Um, so some of the features here, and feel free to go on my Tableau Public, just look up Lauren Cristaldi, and this is my featured viz right now. You can kind of interact. This calendar is made, this entire view right here, even the progress bar, is all one sheet, which I was really proud of. This is using map layers for everything, which is great. And it's scalable. So if we change the month, it'll dynamically change the dates. Right now, I just have it going through the 25th because it's the Advent calendar. But I actually used a template that I had made for the calendar view like this. And I just adjusted like the max amount of days. There's also, so when you mouse over any of these days, you'll see that I'm using web image URLs in order to dynamically change. So on the 5th, it was this shipment dashboard. So I copied the thumbnail link from Tableau Public. I put it in a tool that I use called Cloudinary, because for these to work, they need to be in a central like cloud hosted repository. So Cloudinary is free, so that's the tool that I recommend to use. I think I've recommended that in the past. I've been using it now for like at least a year and a half, maybe 2 years. One thing to note about these images though, so it used to be you had to do PNGs, but now they also support JPEG, and they have to be under 200 KB in size. So to do that, usually you just resize the image. I had a template in Cloudinary where it was like the Tableau image URL size, and it's like 200 by 200 pixels. But depending on the metadata, especially when you're copying a thumbnail like here, the file size can still be too large. So I was looking for all these like compression tools online, but none of them, they would say they're lossless, but they really weren't. So I was like, well, let me just try and chat GPT and see if it can do it better. And honestly, it did. So all of these are using chat GPT to compress the image sizes where it's necessary. So everything pulls through. Otherwise, if you've ever used image URLs, you might notice that it'll have like an error kind of icon when it won't load. So that's the trick with those. There isn't a ton of documentation out there about that. So I always like to share about the nuances of the web image URLs or image URLs. Another feature, so if you click on one of the days, we can either go to a link. So it links back to those dashboards in Tableau Public. We can also click and view it within the dashboard. That's funny because that's not working, but it was earlier. Sometimes so on the objects, and I can switch over to desktop. So from desktop, you'll see this web page object, and that's what I'm using there. It might be just something with, yeah, it was just like a loading issue with Tableau Public. But it'll bring up this web object where it'll actually pass. I'm using a parameter. So when you click, there's a parameter action that passes the URL from that day on the calendar to this web object. And that way it'll know which one to pull up so that you can view it within the dashboard instead of opening another tab. I don't use that a lot, but I was just like, oh, since I don't use it a lot, why don't we try it out? Oh, and over on the right, as you click, I'm using dynamic zone visibility to, again, with parameter actions, tell it to dynamically hide or show this detail level so that you can see into all of those different like scoring categories that make up this overall average. And I wanted it to look like a present. So all of the backgrounds and images or icons that you see, I made those in Figma. Some of them though, well, actually a lot of them, over Thanksgiving, I went to my in-laws, and my mother-in-law is really into using Cricut. And in case you guys don't know what that is, so it's something to like make custom labels or t-shirts or mugs or like crafting stuff that you'd find on Etsy. And she was asking me to help her make these SVG files to where I actually want to make this shirt for my husband with our dog on the shirt. So she was helping me do that. So I made her an SVG to do that. And I realized, oh, Etsy has a lot of these SVGs and resources. I bet I could use these in dashboards. So like the wreaths, this bow, a lot of that is from Etsy. I think it was like, I don't know, $5 or something for a pack of them. But definitely worth it. Then up here, I have the web image URLs again. Or sorry, I keep saying web image URL, but the image URLs for those dashboard thumbnails. So yeah, you can show them as a viz in tooltip, maybe if you don't have a lot of space, or you can add them up here, like as a, like within the sheet.
Do you mind if I ask a question right there, Lauren?
Yeah.
Have you had clients that have the opportunity, like anybody with inventory or something that is product related, use those thumbnails or web images? I saw a researcher use it one time she was forget what the full word is for bird scientist, but they had images of birds. But I was curious in your experience if you had someone take advantage of that yet.
Yeah, actually, I'm working with a client right now, a marketing client, and they represent a lot of different brands. So we have all of these different images according to the brand that we are like viewing in the report.
Awesome. Yeah, seems like that was January 23 or 4 when the ability to use role as image came forward, and it seems like it's should obviously expecting it to take off and be like a really great way to implement support for the graphic nature we all are nowadays.
Yeah, agreed. I'm surprised that it hasn't been used more. I feel like it gets overshadowed a lot, but it's one of those hidden, like really useful features for an impactful report or
Yeah,
dashboard for
yeah.
sure.
You've used it very elegantly here.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Yeah, I always like to add some extra visuals where I can. So speaking of
Yeah.
visuals,
Yes, go
if
ahead.
you like this sweater, it'll change the background. So I'm using dynamic zone for that as well. And this is actually a sheet. It just has that icon. And it'll change colors based on which one you're selecting. Well, it's two sheets. So we have the blue one if you want to switch, and then the green one to switch back. A lot of dynamic zone. That's probably something I use the most is dynamic zone visibility.
Sort of a game changer, yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Mm-hmm,
Yeah, because the old
mm-hmm,
way to swap sheets was kind of tragic, I'm not gonna lie.
mm-hmm.
And really clunky and hard to maintain. So I was very thankful for that feature. I think that's been around a while for like 4 years.
I actually think, wasn't it 23, somewhere in the 23 neighborhood that dynamic zone visibility came in, but yeah, I agree with you. It's like, the more, it's like more and more people are finally like kind of getting it. And it seems like it's more efficient, right? And more performant on
Yeah.
how, rather than layering up 10 worksheets, you just use your map layers and you use the zone visibility, and way better performance out of your work, I guess, or
Yeah.
dashboards.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, for performance, it's the number of sheets and then yeah, really the number of sheets and the filters that you have applied that are the biggest drains for performance, I'd say. So it definitely helps with that. Especially map layers has also been a game changer because otherwise each of these would have to be a different sheet
Mm-hmm.
and that could get really clunky.
Really slow.
Yeah,
Right? Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's not at all. It's very responsive. Yeah.
And if you come back each day, another wreath will be decorated and you can see what the next dashboard that I found interesting made the list. I'll admit that there were a couple of my own um, towards the end, just because I wanted to test out the scoring.
Uh-huh. And how did you, so I guess that's at the part of your prompt engineering. You had it, did you give it frameworks on? Okay, I see. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, that's a good question though. I wanted to make sure that I added that in there.
Mhm.
Because I'll see things out there, especially on Reddit, where people are like, oh, I made this cool thing with ChatGPT, and then someone tries to go to recreate it. But if you don't have the specific prompt,
Mhm.
it's really hard to do that. So yeah, feel free to use that prompt down there. You just need to add the link.
Oh, cool. That's very kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah. And then otherwise, there wasn't too much else to this. It's pretty simple. I can go through how I set up the map layers, or if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Have any of you guys used map layers yet? If you want to add it, come off mic or just add a reaction to your Zoom window or in chat. Anybody any experience with map layers? Because I think that that's actually a game changer, but it definitely takes a little bit of a navigation to, like a tour from somebody at a minimum, to get started with it. Yeah, Helen has not used it. I think that might be like super helpful to kind of walk people through a little bit of how to get that going, Lauren, if you're up for that. And Jim's used it just a little bit. Mhm. I mean, I think the first time I used map layers was to do a donut chart, to be fair.
Yeah,
Now
and
I'm always,
that's a great use case for it, which, oh, by the way, remember a while ago, I was trying to figure out how I made that one donut auto size, and then I was trying to
mm-hmm,
replicate it and I couldn't.
mm-hmm.
The
I
other
would
day,
love to hear
I,
about this because I'm reluctant to teach it in class because of that. I mean, to be fair. Yeah.
So this is,
Okay.
I mean, this is still map layers, so I think it applies. We can do it. I was actually on a call with someone else that Celia and I work with on the Xeo side, and I was showing her my cronut chart where I have like, I guess it's a sunburst is the
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Okay.
and I was like, oh, that's how I did it. So without further ado, I will go through that. So with this field over here, the donut, all you have to do is write in make point and then 1, 1, or it could be the numbers don't really matter as long as they're the same. We're just trying to get it positioned in the middle of the worksheet. So
Kind
see how
of
you
like
bring
an
those
X and
in.
Y coordinates, right?
Yeah, exactly. No,
Hmm.
that's a really good way to think about it. And actually, um, as I've gotten more into the map layers, I actually bought some like graph paper and I was trying to map out like all my columns.
That's a great way to do it. Yeah. To
Yeah, and
sketch
then
out and plan. That's great.
yeah, exactly. Which I mean, I guess I could do that in Figma or something, but something about the act of writing stuff out is probably why I
Yeah.
have about 200 sticky notes on my desk right now. But
Okay.
I think it helps me remember. I don't know, muscle memory.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we can actually make this top one a circle. And then the donut is the pie. The order of these matter. So as you move these layers up or down, that's what's going to be on top of that's how they layer in order. So the bottommost is going to be like the farthest from the top, I guess. I'm trying to think of it in like 2D instead of 3D, but it'll make more sense as I build this out. I can adjust the size a bit so it's easier to see. And then we'll make the top one just white. You can kind of see it taking shape. Trying to think of what would be good to add in. Oh, I can do the score. So we can add score to angle, maybe the category as the color.
That's a good
Now,
idea.
yeah. Um, now to make it auto size, all you have to do is remove the longitude and the latitude. Now you can't do this with other map layers. You can only do it with the donut because with the other ones, they need that lat and long to know how to draw everything out. Especially as you have like, columns or rows, like the map layer tables. I have one on Tableau Public. That's a good example where you have different points that you're creating. So we do entire view, and now we can kind of resize this a little crazy. And on this one, you can add a label, for the average score or overall score, whatever the total is in the center. Or if you only have two categories that are making up the slices of the pie, you can like just call out the one that matters the most. To show how it auto sizes, if we bring this in to a new dashboard,
Wow,
you see
that
smaller.
is auto sizing. And you didn't do entire view, did you? Or did you?
Oh, I did. It's
You
entire view.
did. Okay, it is entire view. Okay. So between the fact that you did make point one, axis of 1 and 1, and then just using, and then you were able to remove both the longitude and the latitude. Okay.
Yeah. And that was the step that I think we were missing the last time. But I
Mm-hmm.
couldn't because I had made so many other ones
Mm-hmm.
recently, or like when we were going through that before. And I was like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
we can't remove the latitude and longitude. But then I looked
Mm-hmm.
back at an old workbook and I was like, oh, why did I do that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I will. I'll probably be checking this out later today because I think this is a much better way. And so you turned it into sunburst as well.
Yeah, so the sunburst, we could just keep layering that same point. One thing is if you're adding additional layers, the latitude and longitude.
Oh, need to be in place to keep doing the calculations, huh?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, to make that
Okay.
point again,
Okay.
yeah, that needs to be in place. But with
Mm-hmm.
traditional like donuts, you don't really need to worry as long as you have those first two on there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you can use the same, just in case anyone missed it, you can just use the same calculation over here for that same make point and just keep layering. So you don't need to make like three different donut calculations or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, now I can remove that. If I made that another pie,
Oh, that's really nice. Yeah, I see that. Okay.
yeah, and here we could have like, this isn't the best data, but if I wanted additional scores or if I had a subcategory,
Mm-hmm.
I could put that here. And then you can sort it to where it, like all the subcategories will fit in to these slices.
Mm-hmm. That's very nice.
And maybe that's an idea for another
Mm-hmm.
DDC.
Mm-hmm.
We can really get into that.
Yeah, that'd be good. And also I have always appreciated how that you keep your foldering system in your workbooks is top notch. And I just feel like that actually would be useful for folks to kind of hear about a little bit. And especially as we get into map layers and the fact that you have a set, well, my impression anyway, I think if I heard you right, is that you have a set of points that you can move from place to place without them having to be restructured every single time to save some time on that, right? Or you have
Yeah.
points that you have. Do you mind speaking about that a little bit?
Yeah, no, and that's actually a great thing to bring up. And thank you. Yeah, I
Yeah, you're welcome.
the foldering, I was working on a project and it was actually a client that wanted the foldering option. And I was like, oh, I hadn't really even thought to use that before. But then I realized, like, especially with map layers, it's so much easier to look at it in the different folders because otherwise you just have things coming from, tables, or sometimes you have like a join or a traditional join or a view table that has multiple things in it that might not just fit in the one category of that table name. So it's easy to lose track of like all the different calculations that you need, especially as you move them from different workbooks. So if you go up here in the fields list to group by folder, and then to create folders, you click on one of those fields or you can select multiple and you do folders. You can either add it to an existing folder or you can create a new one. Like I'll call this. You can also drag and drop them into those folders. So now I know that if I need my dynamic zone calcs or if I want to reuse any of these map layers, I can. Or I can just easily select all of them and copy and paste into another workbook.
Yeah, I kind of think that the copy and paste various assets into another workbook, especially things that are calculation based versus like this is referencing specific points on the canvas, not necessarily fields. or well, I don't know if you have any fields tucked into them, but like your column one, column 1.5, I would imagine that if we looked at the content, it is literally about a spot on the canvas, right? And
Yeah,
so like
exactly.
there's no harm in moving that, and it's not going to carry any data with it. It's somehow I miss getting the program on that. So many things being portable between worksheets or workbooks. I mean, that saves a lot loads of time if you don't have to restructure all that again.
Yeah, no, exactly. Actually, my map layers one I used for, I think it was my adventures in map layers. So if I download this, I had someone reach out to me on LinkedIn and they had seen this and they asked, they were just asking some questions about it. So they were able to use all of my column calculations in their report,
Well,
even though,
that's cool. Wow.
yeah, I think
And
she
and how do you get
on
that
another.
buttons when you
Oh, sorry.
when it's appropriate? Can you talk about that button that you created as well? It looks like it actually switches. That's amazing.
Oh yeah, so this I made in Figma. Um, it's one of the show hide options.
Gotcha. Okay.
So like when you're on a dashboard, you select an
Mm-hmm.
item, you can add a show hide button, and it
Mm-hmm.
generates an X and like a hamburger menu just by default. But you can choose an image. So I had two different SVGs just
Oh,
because
perfect.
they render a little more cleanly when you publish.
Mm-hmm.
So there is this toggle where it's like toggle on, toggle off, or hide show.
Mm-hmm.
So just two different SVGs. And then,
That's
uh,
brilliant. Yeah.
yeah, I love that. I feel like it looks so clean and everyone's like used to the
Mm-hmm.
Apple stuff, I feel like.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So thank you. Sorry to rabbit trail there for a minute, but that's I've been more and more encountering people wanting to hide show things, and that's just such a beautiful user experience right there.
Yeah, no, that's a good thing to call out. It definitely gets missed. It's one of those like hidden features that I feel like don't get used a lot.
Agreed. Yeah.
So if we go to this one, and this will have a better view of like different, because I didn't use as many map layers in the advent calendar. I mean, not compared to this one. So this is where it was really important to have these set up. And I'm using Superstore, but you can just add your data source and then replace references. And the only things you need to change are, I think, these metrics. Yeah, so you only need to change anywhere it says like metric 1, 2, 3. So like this one is just using sales. So really, if you change the fields coming from Superstore here, so if you change profit, quantity, and sales to the relevant measures that exist in your own data, it'll swap that within metric 1 or 2 or 3. I also have default formatting or default, yeah, properties set up for the number formats. Oh, I think metric 1 is just, but yeah, that way you can set those up so that it always carries over. And as you repurpose, you're not having to then go back and like format your dollars versus numbers with decimals or numbers without decimals or percentages or anything like that. So it's all about just those little time savers really add up. Also, the colors are already set up um, throughout these. So you won't have to change all these colors again unless you don't have the same color palette saved.
And how did you
This
do that?
workbook package. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
How did you do that with the colors? Just have them set up? You have metric 1, 2, and 3 color assignments. Is that what you?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So that way,
And
right here, it'll change it. So if I had multiple sheets, that
mm-hmm.
I would only have to change it one place instead of having to change it in like, I don't know, more than one place. So
Everywhere, right?
yeah. Especially as you're swapping data sources, sometimes it remembers, sometimes it doesn't. So it can be kind of a task to go through and make sure that all of the metric ones being used are the same color. And all I have in there for the color one is just the name, but it doesn't, I mean, it can say metric 1 or something else. This one, it was especially important because I wanted to highlight that this time series is representative of this metric so that you know that this is sales. But if I click on this, it'll change to profit or quantity.
Yeah, that's very nice.
Yeah, I repurposed this or something similar for a client, and they had like an Excel, just traditional table. And I was like, well, what if we did something a little more creative? So this is a good way to like kind of bring people into like
Mm-hmm.
it's still tabular, but it's a little more interesting and
Mm-hmm.
robust without
Mm-hmm.
it being too foreign to like, all you have is a map and a couple KPIs and a bunch of charts. That can be kind of daunting if you're used to more traditional like tabular formats.
Mm-hmm. Do you still have the link to this one? Actually, I'll get it, guys. If you are interested, I'll find the link to this in her Tableau Public profile and put it into the chat.
I am
Unless you have,
interested, yes.
okay.
Yeah, we might have gone over this one in another presentation.
I think we did, but I think in that one we also did a lot. So yeah, this is really,
True.
really top notch. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Lauren, I have one quick question. Earlier, I heard that you mentioned the Figma. So I didn't know that. I mean, Tableau had that wonderful feature, Figma here. I know the other way around it, but would you be kind enough to go ahead and went over the Figma thing real quick one more time, please?
Oh, yeah, with
Thank
Figma.
you.
So
Yes.
so yeah, with Figma, I think we have some videos of how I use it on our YouTube channel. But so you go into Figma, the workspace, and then you create different images. So it's not actually like native to Tableau, but you export your different images or like custom icons that you create, and then you save them in your preferences folder under the shapes if you want them to appear like as custom shapes, or you can just save them somewhere on your desktop, like locally, and you can bring them in as like the show hide button images or any logos or things like that. But you do have to export them and then bring them into the workbook as an object. Does that
Thank you.
does that make sense?
So as example, on the sales ranking chart that you have toward the bottom, when you have the little wedge, instead of a regular boring number, you have this clever little arc. Is that an image that you're bringing in behind it, or how did you accomplish that?
Oh yeah, for that. So that's actually a custom shape. So that's where I exported from Figma and then I saved it in my shapes folder from the Tableau preferences or properties. Now I can't remember what it's called.
Well, I think so is it as simple as putting it into a folder inside the shape directory on your system, or did you have to do more
Yeah,
to
no, that was it.
it? Okay, cool. So if you click into this, yeah, but you have a bunch of directories that you have all kinds of shapes. Yeah, I think that this is really important for people to see. I've been starting to show this in the trainings because I think people get kind of lost in, well, how do I get those in there? Well, when you're adding a show high button or an image in a dashboard, it's a little bit more directed, but this is a great option right in here. And so you can see she's added all kinds of beautiful icons. And what are the rules? You mentioned it earlier. I'm just gonna ask you to restate the rules about size and the file type that is allowed for this.
Oh, so from earlier, that was that really just applies to the custom image URLs.
Okay.
So those are a little different because they're actually a part of your data. So you need like a way to map so that you can have dynamic images show. And those need to be in a like cloud-based
Sure. I
repository,
think,
like Cloud
yes,
Mary. But for this,
yeah, I'm thinking of it like for this, I've had trouble with SVGs, but the JPEGs and PNGs worked really well. When I
yeah,
tried to use SVGs, I had to convert them.
yeah, for these, yeah, you have to make it PNG or JPEG for it to be a custom shape within the shapes folder. And then that's really, there's not really a size limitation on those that I've found, at least. It kind of like figures out what to do with it once you have it in there. I try to make them all similar sizes. It's usually like 30 by 30, I think, in Figma, or 48 by 48.
Yeah. I was
Which
doing
sounds
a
super random.
makeover Monday thing from our workout Wednesday last February, and I worried way too much about the size of I was bringing in custom shapes of states, and didn't know that it was going to handle it so well. And it really did remarkably well.
Oh, that's cool. I'll have to check out that workout Wednesday.
And Jim has a question for you about will you move these to the cloud if you publish it? Well, or will these move to the cloud? Like when you publish this on Tableau Public, it's fully functional there as a packaged workbook. I'm curious if you did a web edit on Tableau Public, it's not making a copy of your repository of shape files, right?
So
But it
because
would.
it's packaged, it remembers those shapes,
Mm-hmm,
but only in this workbook. So it won't get saved in like your repository of shapes, if that makes sense. You'll have to like, there's a way to zip a packaged workbook and then unzip, and then you can have access to any custom images that are used, and then you can move those over. It's a little hacky, but
And do you see the question in chat also from Jim? If you use the basic desktop, can it go to the cloud?
yeah, that can go to the cloud.
So you mean like Tableau Cloud, Jim? You feel free to come on mic and just ask out loud if you don't mind. Okay, I just changed the settings so you can unmute yourself. I'm sorry, sir. Sorry about that. Feel free to talk. So essentially, Lauren, whatever we publish goes with it, but there's not more, and you can't reuse it in another workbook. Is that what I basically heard you saying? Unless you do this technique of unzipping and doing a little bit more complexity there.
Right. Yeah. So they'll be native. Yeah, they'll be native to that workbook, but you can't use them in other workbooks unless you have them saved. I have been working on in Figma. I have like a bunch of these saved too. There's a lot of great resources. I've been trying to put together my own. I have one that's like an internal for Xeo folks with custom icons that I use a lot, or custom images or shapes. But yeah, I've been working on one just for like the DDC group. So I'm going to try to publish that in the new year, I think, so that you guys can just access the Figma directly, and then you can export all the shape files that you would want to use and reuse. Yeah, if you just look up Figma and then you can look through the different published like free icon packs. They have a bunch that are out there that you can change like the color palettes for, or just download as is. And then any other questions?
Do you want
I
to
know
give
math
a
players can be a lot.
quick, yeah, do you want to give a quick sneak peek at what you did to line those up on the calendar to make the days be in place?
Yeah. So with that, so I actually saw Andy Kriebel had come up with a solution. So I kind of used a little bit of what he was doing, but then I made just some of my own changes, like the progress bar at the top, because the way that I used to do it was a little bit more complicated, and I felt like the way he did it was just a lot more streamlined in terms of positioning the days and everything. And I always like to give props, especially to Andy, because he does like so many incredible things, and he's
Yeah.
really good at explaining stuff.
Mhm. He's prolific, isn't he?
And he's
Yeah.
so nice too. I met him at
Mhm.
TC last year or this year.
Awesome.
So with the calendar, let's see. There's a few different calculations. One of the things is that we need to group the month names so that there's 3. And this is really, so it's not for this month level view. This would be if you wanted like a full an expanded calendar to see all the months. So if we just focus on one month, and honestly, I brought this over from something else I was building to track all the TV shows that my husband and I are watching. And I had the full calendar view, so I have some stuff in there that we don't necessarily need. For the dates, I'm trying to think of how else did I do that. Oh, map layers. So if we look at these days, I'm creating points for the individual days. So you do make point, and then by adding this variable for the day of the date, we're basically telling it how to position based on the day of the week, or how many weeks are in that month, or how many days are in that month, so that it can move them around accordingly, depending on that individual day for the month and year. Yeah, and the label is, I think this one. Oh, and this is more involved with how I set up this progress bar. But I'm using a similar approach with that, where I'm telling it, like, draw out this many days, and then here are the variables for the min and max of where to plot these points, basically. And this is how those days work into the week or the weekday. So there's a couple of calculations for that week offset in the weekday number. So we're telling it to flip. And because I changed the order to be from Monday through Sunday, just because I think that makes a little more sense with how we're starting the week really on a Monday. And then we have the weekend grouped together.
That's very interesting. I've seen that more and more these days. And I think that there's a good chunk of at least Europe that does something more along the lines of that.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I hadn't realized
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I had a client that had it set up this way, and I was like, oh, that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But it is against the default nature of Tableau, taking it from Sunday to Saturday on the 1 to 7 there, like what you've referenced right there. That's good.
Yeah, and I should note that I had to change. So within the data, if you go to date properties,
Mm-hmm.
you do need to change the week start to be Monday, and then it knows what
Uh-huh.
to do. But if I change this back to Sunday,
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden we start losing from that first week. So now this whole column for Sunday gets pushed down and it looks all funky.
Oh, interesting. Uh-huh. Well, team, we have about 6 minutes left. Anybody have any questions for Lauren or things you'd like to see behind the curtain on of the things she shared and showed today? Feel free to, I think I have my mute figured out where you can come off mute now if you'd like to. Otherwise, feel free to put it in chat. Well, Lauren, this is really beautiful. We'll be watching to see what hits the scoring and makes your criteria for the next few days at least. That's really cool.
Yeah,
And
thank you.
I think it might be interesting to correlate the scoring that GPT and you cooked up as compared to the Iron Biz competition and see how much overlap there is. There's a literally a spreadsheet with 3 main components and a lot of subdivisions on scoring that they do for that. It'd be interesting if we could get it to be aligned with each other to see how things, if you could guess at who was likely to win and such. That'd be pretty interesting, huh?
Oh, that's a really good idea. That's really cool. Yeah. And then maybe it could even be something where people like that want to enter Iron Viz, they could do
Yeah.
like a scoring for themselves and then see what they
Yeah.
improve
Yes,
before submitting.
agreed. Right. Get like a preview of how well do you think you'll fare, right? Now there's the human element on it because they have like 30 judges this year working on that, but there's a personal interpretation, but there's most definitely a scoring rubric and with theoretical it's it's not boxed in, but it's very specific. So that'd be really cool. You could have the pre-qualifier qualifier tool
Yeah,
for really fun.
I like it.
I love that. All right, you guys. Well, thank you for spending your lunchtime with us. Really appreciate it. And if you missed any part of what she's presented and want to circle back around later, we would be glad to have you check out the video on our YouTube channel, and that will be there within a couple of days. And apart from that, we just thank you guys for your coming, and we wish you the best. And would love to, if you want to reach out, connect with us on LinkedIn. Happy to show and share. And please check out her Tableau Public page. It's full of really great resources. So, Lauren, anything else from your side? And did I leave anything out, you think?
No, I think we're all good. Yeah, thank you everyone for attending and happy holidays.
Yes. Happy holidays, everybody. YouTube channel and Tableau link. Yeah, I'll put that in the channel here before I go. 1 second. Do you happen to have your Tableau Public page still up where you can put it into the chat?
Oh yeah. Here, I can put that in really quickly.
Um, and I think I just found the YouTube playlist. Let me put that up there as well. Thank you for asking, Ahmed. Okay. So there's those resources. All right, team. Have a good rest of your day and a good restful week. Hopefully restful holidays. It's almost like oh, so. Thanks, Lauren. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.